How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I have for you all the 11th inning program prediction. I'm going to be going over a little bit of content in this video, as well as some predictions, what they could possibly go with. I wanted to first talk about when the program will be released. It is scheduled for December 13th, and it should be coming out right around 12 p.m., 12 noon Pacific time, probably around 2 p.m. Eastern time, with daylight savings changing and everything like that. But I did want to talk about some of the upcoming stuff as well. We did have some of these career tribute moments. That's going to also play a factor in some of these predictions. Also, the previous program was all three position players, so that will also play a factor in some of these guys that I went ahead and selected. Before I start predicting cards, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about something that is kind of being talked about in the MLB The Show community. People have been discussing the fact that they could also have at 300 program stars, kind of like what they did with World Series, in a choice pack with all of the previous bosses. There's also an event coming out soon with 3 new Signature Series cards, so that might play a factor in the selection for this program, whether they're new cards, whether they're a choice pack of all the previous bosses, which I think would be awesome. I think both ideas would be pretty cool if they added new bosses, as well as a choice pack with all of the other bosses, since it is the last program. Now, some people have said that the developers have talked about this. I might have missed that, so if you didn't and you know for a fact that that's how it's going to be, then go ahead and comment down below that they're going with all the previous bosses. Just type all previous bosses or something like that, and I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Here I'm showing you an example of me opening up the World Series pack. These are all of the World Series rewards from the previous, the entire ranked seasons year so far. So I went ahead and selected Chipper Jones. He was going for the most at the time. Probably will cause a price drop for a lot of the bosses if that's the case, if it's the same thing. But let's go ahead and start predicting cards that could get a Signature Series card within the 11th inning program. I think Oral Hershiser would be the #1 choice for a lot of people. I think that his name has been brought up quite a bit, simply because he doesn't have a dominant version of his card. Even though this 92 is still really good, he doesn't have a high 90 overall Signature Series player, and I think that Oral Hershiser should deserve one. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about some of these predictions as well. Hal Newhouser was a card that they showed before the game launched. They hinted at this new legend and kind of compared him to Bob Feller, and I expect him to get a Signature Series card as well. Although some of these cards might be included in the event. I don't know, but that's something to keep in mind. I think that they're going to go with a couple pitchers for this program if they decide to go with new bosses rather than recycle the old ones. Now, I think if for this next upcoming event as well, probably going to see some pitchers. The last program had 3 position players. I think Don Sutton is another great selection, very similar to kind of the Christy Mathewson that we just got. Also, some of these cards could be predicted for the 200 program star boss. I think that if they go ahead and bring out that choice pack with all of the recycled bosses, we might see some new cards at the 200 program star spot. Just kind of letting you guys know, maybe even the 100 program star, kind of just letting you guys know some of my thoughts while I'm doing this. I think a Brett Saberhagen would be amazing, a Signature Series Brett Saberhagen. This card, even earlier on in the game cycle, kind of gave me some trouble. He has some pretty good velocity differential on some of his pitches. If you add in another pitch there, maybe a 2-seam, maybe a sinker for the Signature Series card, this card is more effective. He instantly becomes more effective, and I think that they could very well do that. I think they've done that in the past, and they could also do that with some of the other pitchers I mentioned as well. Jose Bautista is kind of a tricky one, simply because he could also be included in the career tribute moments. He could be part of the retirement moments, even though he hasn't necessarily came out and said he's retiring. He has not signed a contract. He hasn't played in over a year. They might go ahead and give him this, but they also might go ahead and go towards more legend career tribute moments type of thing, where Ichiro might be the only one retired, because we already have some of the other signature cards that already have retired as well, like CC Sabathia, players like that, Troy Tulowitzki. Anyway, I think the #1 position player that I would select for this program as my prediction would be Eddie Matthews. I think you have to select Eddie Matthews as one of these cards. He's definitely going to get a Signature Series card. It's just a matter of time, and he could be implemented in the event as well. But I think a signature Eddie Matthews is coming. I'm not really sure how soon, but I want to predict him for this program or for the event. One of the two. I think he'll be released in But they can't release all these cards either, so I'm curious to see who they're going to select. Kenny Lofton is another one that's kind of been talked a little bit about. He is the Indians Collection Reward, and this card is very good. He would arguably be in the same category as Ichiro, maybe even a little bit better because he has more speed. He might have higher contact versus both sides. I'm curious to see how they're going to make this card if they decide to make it. He might have more power than Ichiro. I'm interested to see if they even make a signature Lofton, but he very well could get a card. Ralph Kiner is another one. I'm kind of skeptical about this Ralph Kiner. I don't think he will get one, but I wanted to include him in the video simply because he doesn't have a card. He definitely deserves one, but he already has a 94. They have given, Johnny Bench a 99 when he has a 95. They have given cards, signature cards in this kind of XP reward path program as well. Alan Trammell is on this list. I did not include signature series Jason Giambi, but he could be another one that gets a signature card. I don't necessarily think that he does, and I don't necessarily think that these guys will either, Ralph Kiner and Alan Trammell. I just wanted to include them in this video as a possibility. I think that some of the other cards I predicted have a better chance. I think this Fred McGriff would be perfect for the event, maybe even a 100 program star reward for the 11th inning program. We might see a couple of signature cards, one or two in that 100 program star along with some other diamonds, or we might see, a couple signature cards in the 200 program star reward pack, and they could go with some of these guys. Jacoby Ellsbury is another one, that Boston Red Sox collection. We have seen some of these collection reward cards get signature cards in the game as well. At the beginning of the year, I wasn't really sure if they would, simply because they're pretty high overall already. I didn't also know how many signature cards they were going to release into the game. And now that they have so many, and now that we have like pretty much every version, multiple versions of every card, then I think that they could go with some of these guys. Jacoby Ellsbury, Warren Spahn would be another one. He does have a really slow delivery, and I don't think a lot of people would want this card. But I think he's an option. I think he's a possibility for some content. They have released cards with longer windups in the past as well. End game cards that can compete with some of the best cards in the game, but they might have a little bit of a longer windup. I know Walter Johnson's very similar to this Warren Spahn. I would rather have a Vida Blue. I have him a little bit later on the list, but he could very well be in the same category as Don Sutton, Oral Hershiser, Brett Saberhagen, guys like that. I think that this Vida Blue is deserving of a 99 card. I just don't know if we get one, because this was his 99 card art in years past. This was kind of his best card all around that we've ever had in MLB The Show. Now, that doesn't mean they won't give him a better version, a signature series, but I also think we could get, Mike Scott. I think you could include him earlier up in the video as well. I kind of wanted to spread out some of the content, some of the cards I was predicting, as well as give reasons to why I selected these cards. I think that there are still a lot of options for the developers to go ahead and select some of these signature series cards for end game rewards and, end of the year type of things. I also think that we might see, Rob Nen. I think that he deserves a signature card. We haven't seen a closing pitcher in a program in a while. I think since about, Billy Wagner, I want to say. Maybe we've had a couple guys in between there, but Billy Wagner is the one that stands out. Goose is other one that stands out before that. I definitely think that Goose could also get one. I think I have him in this video as well. But Rob Nen is deserving of a better card. That was his best card in last year's game. Here's the Goose Gossage. I don't necessarily think he'll be included in the 11th inning program. He might be an event reward simply because this card was the first inning program reward. Now that they're kind of releasing more and more events, more signature cards that way, I think that they would probably go with it in that route. Maybe if there's one more Battle Royale Flawless reward, Goose Gossage 99 could be it. I'm not really sure if we're getting any more of those Battle Royale rewards. Jimmy Fox might be the last one. I'm just trying to cover everything, and it seems like we're not getting any more World Series rewards. They might recycle those bosses or those rewards that way. Cy Young is another one, could be included in the event. I wanted to talk about Goose and Cy Young for the event simply because they were a part of the first inning. It's unlikely that they'll recycle these cards and put them in the 11th inning program as signature cards. The last card I have in this video is another closing pitcher, Fernando Rodney. He just recently won a World Series. I know he's getting towards the end of his career. He has played really well for a lot of teams, as well as played really well in the World Baseball Classic. I know that has nothing to do with them creating cards in this game, but I definitely think Fernando Rodney could very well get a Signature Series card. Also could be looking at a 200-star boss or something like that. But basically for this 10th inning program, or to prepare for the 11th inning program, just to add in something else at the end of this video, the most important thing probably is these daily missions. If you can stack these up prior to the 13th, if you can stack them up starting on the 11th or something, maybe even the 12th where you have it reset, you can earn multiple daily missions. Also, the 11th inning program voucher by collecting the bosses will help you unlock the boss really fast, as well as maybe even one of the first people to unlock him. But we don't really have too much to go off of that last screenshot, just the holiday lights with the voucher there. But thank you all for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section, and have a wonderful day.